When people talk about unforgettable moments in talent show history, one name that often comes up is Courtney Hadwin, a young British singer who shocked the world with her powerful and unusual voice. Her journey began when she appeared on America's Got Talent, where she performed with a level of confidence and energy that surprised both the judges and the audience. From the very first second of her audition, she did not seem like a normal teenager. She looked shy before the performance started, but the moment the music played, she transformed completely. Her voice was rough, soulful, and full of emotion, something many people compared to legendary old-school rock and soul singers. The crowd's reaction was instant. People stood up, clapped, and shouted in surprise because they were not expecting such a powerful performance from someone so young. One of the judges, Simon Cowell, known for being extremely strict and hard to impress, looked genuinely shocked. He leaned forward in his chair, watching carefully, as if trying to understand how such a young girl could have such a deep and emotional voice. What made Courtney even more special was not just her voice, but her stage presence. She moved like a performer who had been on stage for many years. She danced, expressed emotions through her body, and completely lost herself in the music. After her performance, the judges praised her heavily. Simon Cowell called her something close to a once-in-a-generation talent, meaning someone extremely rare who may not appear again for a long time. This moment quickly went viral online. Millions of people watched her audition in just a few days, and it continued growing into hundreds of millions of views over time. People around the world started sharing her video, saying they had never seen anything like it before. However, this sudden fame was not something a 13-year-old girl could fully understand or prepare for. While the world was celebrating her talent, her life was about to change in ways she never expected. The pressure of being in the spotlight, the expectations from millions of viewers, and the sudden attention from media and strangers created a situation that was both exciting and overwhelming at the same time. What started as a dream moment on stage slowly turned into a life-changing experience that would test her emotionally, mentally, and personally. This was just the beginning of her story, and no one knew yet how deeply fame would affect her journey in the years to come. After her audition went viral, life changed very quickly for Courtney Hadwin. Overnight, she went from a normal schoolgirl in England to a global internet sensation. Her video was shared everywhere, and people from different countries began discussing her voice, her personality, and her unique style. While many people praised her talent and called her a future star, others were not as kind. Some viewers started criticizing her performance style, saying she was too unusual or too dramatic. A few even questioned whether her personality on stage was real or just an act. This kind of mixed attention is very common in viral fame, but for a young teenager, it can be very difficult to handle. At school, things also became harder for her. Instead of enjoying her success, she had to deal with attention from classmates, some of whom did not understand or support her situation. Online, the pressure was even stronger. Social media platforms were filled with comments, both positive and negative, and it was impossible to escape them. Some people praised her as a future superstar, while others left harsh messages that could hurt anyone's confidence. For a young girl still growing and learning about herself, this sudden exposure created emotional stress. The excitement of fame slowly mixed with anxiety and fear. She was no longer just singing for fun. She was now performing under the judgment of millions of people. Every performance became something that could be analyzed, criticized, or compared. Even though she had support from her family and fans, the pressure of expectation continued to grow. People wanted her to be perfect every time she stepped on stage, but perfection is not realistic for anyone, especially someone so young. This is where the darker side of fame started to appear in her life. The same internet that made her famous also became a place where negativity could spread easily. Comments and opinions from strangers began to affect how she felt about herself and her performances. Instead of enjoying music freely, she started thinking about how others might react. This is a major challenge for many young performers because fame removes privacy and replaces it with constant attention. As time went on, she began to realize that being in the spotlight meant losing some of the normal life experiences that other teenagers enjoy. This included simple things like going to school without attention or performing without pressure. The emotional weight of all this began to grow slowly, shaping the next phase of her journey in a much deeper way. As the pressure increased, Courtney Hadwin started to feel the emotional effects of sudden fame more deeply. What once felt like an exciting opportunity began to feel heavy and stressful. Performing on stage, which was originally something she loved, slowly became something she had to mentally prepare for in a different way. Instead of just focusing on music, she started thinking about expectations, criticism, and fear of judgment. This is a common experience for young performers who suddenly become famous, especially when they are still developing emotionally. Reports and discussions around her situation suggested that she experienced anxiety and self-doubt during this period. Even though she had strong support from her family, the outside world was still very loud and sometimes very harsh. One of the most emotional parts of her story is the reaction from Simon Cowell, who reportedly felt deeply concerned about her well-being. He is known for his tough personality on television, but in Courtney's case, he showed a softer and more emotional side. It was said that he was moved by her struggles and even became emotional when thinking about the pressure she was under at such a young age. This reaction shows that even experienced industry professionals can be affected when they see a young talent struggling with fame. During this time, Courtney began to step back from the public eye more often. She reduced appearances and focused more on her personal life and mental health. This decision was important because it gave her space to breathe and think without constant pressure. However, stepping away from fame does not mean the pressure disappears completely. Social media and public attention still existed, and people continued to talk about her journey. The emotional struggle she faced highlights a bigger issue in the entertainment industry: the impact of fame on children and teenagers. Many young talents are celebrated for their abilities, but the emotional cost of that fame is not always considered. The constant attention, high expectations, and lack of privacy can create a difficult environment for mental health. In Courtney's case, this period of struggle became a turning point in her life. It forced her to slow down, reflect, and begin understanding what she truly wanted from her music career. Instead of rushing forward under pressure, she started focusing on rebuilding her confidence step by step. This slow recovery process became the foundation for her later growth as an artist and as a person. Over time, Courtney Hadwin began to rebuild her confidence and reconnect with her love for music. This was not an instant change, but a gradual process that required patience, support, and personal strength. She started focusing less on public opinions and more on her own feelings about music. With the help of her family and mentors, she slowly returned to a healthier mindset. The encouragement she received from people in the music industry, including supportive figures like Simon Cowell and others, helped her believe in her talent again. Instead of seeing music as a source of pressure, she began to see it as a form of expression and freedom. This shift in mindset was very important for her emotional recovery. During this period, she also learned how to manage social media more carefully. Instead of reading every comment or reacting to negativity, she focused on positive feedback and supportive messages. This helped reduce stress and allowed her to enjoy music again without constant fear of judgment. As she grew older, she also became more aware of her identity as an artist. She started making decisions about her career that reflected her own style and personality. Instead of simply performing songs chosen by others, she began exploring music that felt more personal and meaningful to her. This creative independence gave her a stronger sense of control over her future. It also helped her develop a unique artistic voice that was different from her early performances. Her journey during this time shows how important it is for young artists to have space to grow at their own pace. Without that space, fame can become overwhelming. But with support and understanding, it is possible to recover and rebuild. Courtney's experience became an example of resilience, showing that setbacks do not have to define a person's future. Instead, they can become lessons that lead to stronger growth. As she continued this path, she slowly moved toward a comeback that would reflect not just her talent, but also her maturity and personal strength as an artist. As her confidence returned, Courtney Hadwin began working on new music that reflected her growth and independence. This marked a new chapter in her career, where she was no longer just a young talent discovered on a TV show, but an artist shaping her own identity. She began releasing original songs that showed a more mature sound and stronger artistic direction. These songs were different from her early performances because they were more personal and expressive. She experimented with different styles, including pop, rock, and soulful influences, blending them into her own unique sound. One of the important parts of her comeback was working with music producers who supported her creative freedom. Instead of controlling her direction, they encouraged her to explore her own ideas. This allowed her to develop a stronger connection to her music. She also became more confident in writing her own lyrics, expressing emotions and experiences in a more direct way. This creative process helped her heal emotionally as well, because music became a way to express everything she had gone through. During this time, she also learned how to handle public attention in a healthier way. Instead of fearing criticism, she learned to accept that not everyone would understand her style, and that was okay. This mindset helped her focus on her real supporters rather than negative voices. Her growth as an artist also showed in how she performed. She became more controlled, more expressive, and more aware of her artistic identity. This transformation was not just about music, but about personal development. She was no longer the overwhelmed teenager from her early fame. She was becoming a stronger and more self-aware artist. This phase of her life highlights how important it is for young performers to have time to grow and redefine themselves. Without pressure, they can discover their true artistic voice and build a sustainable career. Today, Courtney Hadwin is seen as an example of resilience and artistic growth. Her journey from a shy schoolgirl to a global talent show sensation, and then to a more independent artist, shows how complex fame can be. It can bring success, attention, and opportunity, but it can also bring pressure, criticism, and emotional challenges. Through all of this, she learned how to rebuild herself and continue moving forward. Support from mentors like Simon Cowell and others played an important role, but her own determination was equally important. She had to learn how to trust herself again, make her own decisions, and stay strong in the face of criticism. Her story also serves as a reminder about the importance of mental health in the entertainment industry. Young performers should be supported not just for their talent, but also for their emotional well-being. Fame should not come at the cost of happiness or mental health. Courtney's experience encourages a more thoughtful approach to how young artists are treated in the spotlight. As she continues her journey, she remains focused on her music and personal growth. Her story is still developing, and her future holds many possibilities. What makes her journey inspiring is not just her talent, but her ability to overcome challenges and keep moving forward despite difficulties. It shows that success is not only about fame or popularity, but also about strength, resilience, and self-belief. As Courtney Hadwin continued to grow as an artist, she began stepping into a phase of her life where she focused more on independence and creative control. This was an important shift because it marked the moment she started shaping her career on her own terms instead of relying only on talent show fame. After her early success on America's Got Talent, many people expected her to immediately become a mainstream pop star, but her journey did not follow a simple or fast path. Instead, she took time to understand who she was as an artist and what kind of music truly represented her personality. This period of self-discovery was not easy because the music industry is often fast-paced and competitive, especially for young performers who gain early attention. However, Courtney chose patience over pressure. She began exploring different musical directions, trying to find a sound that felt natural and authentic to her voice. During this time, she also started working with producers and collaborators who respected her creative vision rather than controlling it. One of the important aspects of this stage was learning how to trust her own instincts. In her early fame, many decisions were made around her by professionals, but now she began to take an active role in shaping her music. This included writing songs, experimenting with different styles, and understanding how to express her emotions through lyrics. This creative freedom helped her reconnect with the joy of music, something that had become difficult during her most stressful moments of fame. Instead of performing under pressure, she began creating music that reflected her own experiences, thoughts, and feelings. This transformation also helped her emotionally because writing music became a way to process everything she had been through, including fame, criticism, and personal growth. Over time, she started releasing new songs that showed a more mature and confident version of herself. These releases were not just about success in charts or views. They were about expressing identity and reclaiming control over her artistic journey. Fans who followed her closely noticed this change and appreciated her evolution. They saw her not just as a talent show contestant, but as a developing artist with a unique voice and story. This stage of her life highlights an important truth about fame. Real artistic growth takes time, and true success is not always immediate. It requires patience, self-understanding, and the courage to step away from expectations in order to build something meaningful. Courtney's journey during this time shows that even after early fame, an artist can redefine themselves and create a path that is more fulfilling and personally meaningful. As her career continued to evolve, Courtney Hadwin began releasing music that reflected both her emotional journey and her artistic maturity. This included songs that blended different genres, showing her willingness to experiment and break away from the style people originally associated with her. Instead of being limited to her early talent show image, she explored sounds influenced by rock, soul, and pop, creating a more complex and layered musical identity. This experimentation was an important part of her comeback because it showed that she was not afraid to take risks. Many young artists who become famous early struggle to escape the image they were first known for, but Courtney